In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up Thunderbird to be your default email client on Ubuntu Mate. Or actually, Thunderbird is the default email client that comes packaged with Ubuntu Mate when you first install it. You have the capabilities of uninstalling it and replacing it, but Thunderbird, in my opinion, is one of the best email clients that there are within any operating system. To access Thunderbird on your new freshly installed Ubuntu Mate, or if you've been using Ubuntu Mate and never set up your Thunderbird as your email client, I'll show you how to do that in this video. And it doesn't have to be at Ubuntu Mate. If you're finding this video on YouTube, you can use it in Linux. You can even use it in other operating systems as well. But if you're using Ubuntu Mate, you'll match up with what I'm using here on my laptop. To access it, you go to your Applications menu. You go down to Internet because it is something that is used across the Internet. And you scroll down to where it says Thunderbird Email or Thunderbird Mail and click on that option. Now, this is the first time for me setting this up. Or actually, I set it up before, but I cleaned out the account. You've got multiple options. You can create yourself a new Thunderbird, or you can actually create yourself a new account. You can configure it, come back and configure it later, but the purpose of this video is to show you how to configure it now. I already have an existing email. I have an email that I created many years ago with AOL, and the only time I use it is when I'm signing up for something. If I don't want to get spam mail on my default email client, I write down my AOL email. And so before I set up this video, I went in there and cleaned up all the spam mail so that it's empty except for one email coming from my main email that I'm going to use as an example. So I'm going to say skip this and use my existing email because I've already have a current email. More than likely, if you've purchased your internet through an internet provider such as Spectrum or Windstream or any of the other internet providers, they will provide you with a certain number of emails that come with your service, and they'll give you a sheet to show you how to set that up. You can use that sheet and information to set it up manually, but I'm going to use it to set it up automatically, to do it very quickly. And this is what intimidates a lot of people, or at least I know many years ago when I worked on computers, I had to help set up a lot of people because there were no automatic setting up the emails. It was manually, and it was kind of intimidating years ago. To automatically set it up, choose skip this and use my existing email. When prompted, you put your name, and it's already found my name on the computer. If it doesn't have your name or whatever name you would like to put it in your name section. And this will be, and I like the little reminder, this will be what will be shown to others. When you receive an email, or when they receive an email, this will show up who it's coming from. This is where you put your email address. Now, the email address I'm using, and if you're seeing this, don't email me at this address because I don't check it every day. I check it every now and then. Like I said, I just currently cleared out the junk mail. But this is an old email that I used a long time ago, and it's still active. Okay, it's an old AOL email account, and I couldn't use the whole word binary, B-I-N-A-R-Y, man, because that was already taken, so I had to drop the A. And if you're familiar with computer and how computers work, and if you work in the computer technology field, you understand that binary is a numbering system of 2 digits, zeros and ones, and that's the way computers work. But this is not about binary. This is about setting up your email. So let me put my password. You're not going to be able to see my password as I type because it's creating little dots to cover up so if someone's looking over your shoulder. So this is my email address, this is my password, and that's the name that will be shown to other. I will click the continue. It's looking up, and it was quick. It already set up everything it needs. The incoming, that is the SSL, the incoming for AOL. The outgoing, this is where it receives the emails, this is how it goes out. And this is the actual username with the whole entire email address. So I have now set it up. I can click done. It's checking, and I can now click on my inbox, and it should load it up with one email. Right before I started doing this video, I sent myself an email to make sure that I did have something to check to demonstrate with this message. Now over here you can customize a calendar. It's a very powerful calendar, but for the sake of this video I'm going to disable it or turn it off from the view. Now some of you probably noticed there was a little welcome screen. Now that welcome screen, if I close this down and come back into my Thunderbird email client, if I come back into it, that's going to show up every single time. And I can say set this. If you don't want to set this as your default, you can skip it, or you can integrate. You can pull in email from somewhere else. I'm just going to say set it as default. Now this is a welcome screen, and it will come up every single time that you open up your Thunderbird email. If you'd like to disable that, to start with, I'm going to enable the menu. I'm going to go in the dark area and right click, and I'm going to choose menu bar. I hit the left click. You're going to right click, set the menu bar. Now the menu bar comes back up. I like the menu bar to be available for me to use. A lot of people don't. They think that it takes up real estate, but I like to have it viewable. If you go to edit preferences, and in just a moment it'll bring up a little dialog box, your Thunderbird preferences. The general tab should be the one that's selected. If not, select your general tab. Before I click on or show you how to change that, you've got a lot of features, and I'm not going to cover all of these in this video. This is just a basic how to set up and use it. You've got a lot of features that you can go around and change your display settings, your composition. You can go in to change your chat settings, because you can actually set up chat features with this. You can adjust your privacy and security, and you can mark certain things as junk file. You can set how big an attachments are. You can adjust your calendar, which I closed down. You can go into the advanced settings. So this is a very powerful email client. Now, if remember that nag, I call it, it's a welcome screen, but I like to call it a nag screen, where it says Thunderbird start page. This is where that screen is at. I can uncheck or unclick where it says when Thunderbird launch, show the start page in this message, and then click the close button. I now have to close the email client, Thunderbird client, once again, and when I open it back up, that start screen no longer appears at the bottom. It's gone. It's just a blank. It's now in the view area, so when I click on that, it lets me view my message. So here's a test email that I sent myself. So to view your email, you just double click on your email. Now for some reason you don't see email over here. Make sure that your inbox is selected on the left hand column. You've got several different options that you have over here on the side. Sent, drafts. If you're in the process of creating an email but you leave and don't finish it at that time, you can come back and it will keep your draft. You can start back where you left off. You can save emails. You can save your instant message. You can throw things in the trash, and just as with the trash in Ubuntu Mate, when you throw something away and put it in the trash within your email client, it's still there. It just takes it out of the organization of these folders. If you want to save your space, you occasionally can empty the trash in the local folders. And then this is just simply your outbox. When you send an email to someone, it will go into the outbox. From time to time, you may want to look in the outbox and get rid of some of the old messages as well. Alright, the purpose of this is to show you how to use it to check email and to receive email. But before I do, I want to show you something how to customize this particular toolbar. This toolbar, as you can see, already has get messages, right, chat, address book, tag, and quick filter. Now, I can add people in my address book. I can come through here and add a bunch of people. But once I start to create an email, and I'll show you that in just a few moments, when I already put everyone in my address book, when I go to write the person's name, it will come up with like an address book to the left hand side. So in my opinion, it's not really needed on this screen. So I'm going to show you how to customize and put the buttons that you would normally use. I don't use an email client as a chat feature, so I could remove that one as well. So let me right click. I'm going to choose customize. And when I choose customize, if you've seen the video that I've did the HRL document viewer, I customized that one to where I had buttons that I commonly use. This works very similar. Like for example, if I don't want the chat button, I can click on the chat button and I can drag it back into this box and it removes it from that toolbar. Now I will add some features that I like and use quite often. I do have the get messages and the write button, which I like. I keep them there. But I like to put sometimes a reply. So if I see it within my, I didn't drop it right, but the reply, sometimes I can already have it highlighted, hit reply, and it'll open up already and ready to be replied to. And if it was a mass message, let's say that I have a lot of friends and they're all emailing each other, where I worked at, there was a lot of people that email me and I want to reply to everyone that the message came from, I can click the reply all and it will open up and be ready to send it to everyone that the message came to, or that the message was sent to. Then I also have a feature that is forward. So I can take and I can say, if I wanted to forward a message, let's say that I've already read an email and I come in here and it's already selected, I can click the forward button and it will come up to be ready to forward to someone. If I would like to download, I can choose the little drop down arrow, which is my file, download file. If I wanted to add, let's see, a delete, because there are times that I would like to delete an email, and I can highlight it and drag it into my trash, or I can highlight it and press the delete key on my keyboard. But I do like to have another option of, if it's highlighted, or I can select a bunch and just press the delete button there and it would delete them as well. Next, I like the junk button, where I can actually go in here and select what's junk. If I highlight something and hit the junk button, then it will associate that particular email as junk, and I don't see where it went. Well, this is just showing you how to add them to it. You can take things off. If I wanted to remove that, I could just simply drag it into this box, and when you shut it, it's now closed. If you want to add additional buttons, you just right click the menu and choose customize and just drag them to your toolbar. Let me close this back out. Now let's show you how to read an email and use the email that someone sent you, and then how to send an email to someone, and then that will be the end of this this particular video. To check an email that's coming to your inbox, double click the message, and when you do, notice that the way that this is set up is it's set up to open each individual emails as tabs. Now when you're finished with the email, do not click back to the inbox and keep double clicking it, because every time you double click a new message, it will open as a tab. I have seen someone, I had to work on someone's computer not long ago, that they couldn't find their inbox because they had close to 100 tabs open and they were so small across the top. I said, oh my goodness, you've not been closing your tabs. So I went through and closed all their tabs and told them, when you're finished using an email or reading an email, close that tab to go back into your inbox. If you want to compare messages, you can then go back to your inbox and click more emails so that you can tab between those emails, and that's the purpose of your tabbed emails. Now all I did was put email test attachment, made it very short, very simple. Now notice I did create an attachment to this email. There's two things that I can do. I can save it, and that way I can put it into a folder, close out of my Thunderbird, go to the folder, and work with that attachment. Or if I'm not sure what it is, I can double click the attachment. I've got the choice then to open the attachment with the default viewer. In this case, it's a PDF file, so it's going to open with the HRO document viewer. That's my default viewer. Or I can say to save the file just as I could over here. Now, not every single attachment will come up with the same identical dialog box. If you got a video, of course it's not going to come up to open it with the HRO document viewer. But in this case, I'm going to open it. I'm not going to save it. And here my document that was attached opens on my screen, and I can work with it as I normally do. Now, unless I have a PDF editor, I'm not going to be making any changes. So I don't really need to save anything. It's still going to be attached to it, so I can use it anytime. But if this would have been a Word document or a word processor document created with an equivalent of Microsoft Word, say LibreOffice or some other Office application, if I saw that there was errors in it, I could make the changes. Then I would need to go File, Save As, and save it to my computer. Here I've got the option where I can print. I can go File, Print, or in this case I've modified my toolbar and add the print button where I could print this particular attachment. Now the focus is not on the attachment, it's the email. But from time to time you will be given many attachments to open up within your emails. Alright, let me close the email now that we received. Now I'm going to write an email to someone else, and I will send it to myself. I say write a message, and when it does, you can go ahead and maximize the screen to use the full real estate. Here's where you don't really need the address book on your toolbar, because once you start putting the addresses in your address book, you can then drop down and choose the address. Like I can type my email. Notice I've not set up Thunderbird before, so this is the first time setting it up, so it doesn't have anything to look at or to reference to pull it up automatically. So I'm going to type in my Gmail address. And once I type in my primary email address, when I get ready to send the email, it will go to this address. And in the future, once I type a T, it will come up with everyone I ever sent a T, email that starts with a T, and then I could click onto it to save time. It makes it very quickly. That way I don't need the entire address book on the taskbar, because if I were to use it on the toolbar I would have to minimize this and go to it as to access it. So it's not very convenient to have it on the default Thunderbird screen when you open it. Here will be where you type in your subject. I'm just going to put email test for time's sake, and I'm just going to copy that, and I'll put it down here in the body of the letter and paste it. Notice you can change the formatting, you can change the width. You've got a lot of buttons to where you can choose the color for your background. You've got other features to where you can set the font size. You can make it smaller, you can make it larger. You could make it where you're smaller by, instead of choosing here, you can click on it and keep going smaller, or you can increase font size. Here you can make it bold, italicize, and underline. Here you've got the feature of applying or removing bullets. So if I wanted to had a list and I wanted to bullet them, I can bullet here. I can add numbers, or add or remove numbers to a list. I can indent, or I can remove indentions. I can make it like the alignment, such as left aligned, center aligned, or right aligned, or justified. I could add a link or anchor or put an image into the body of the email, or I could just simply put one of these smiley faces, and you've got several smiley faces you can choose from. So I'll choose cool, and now I'm going to hit the send button. Now before I do, you've got a spell check feature. You can attach an attachment file to it. Like I had an attachment file. I could set the security, or I could put a password, so that if someone's familiar with receiving my emails and opening with a password, then they would know my password, because I wouldn't want to put the password on the subject. That would defeat the purpose. So if someone's familiar with opening emails that's password protected, then I would secure it with the password that they're familiar with. Please make sure that you're putting it with what they're familiar with, or they will not know how to open up the the email. Once I've got the email ready, then I'll hit the send button, and it sends it on its way. And that is how you automatically set up Thunderbird to be to use as your email client, to receive and to send emails. Now Thunderbird is very, very powerful. And on my website, and I don't even have all the power that Thunderbird can do. On my website, and I'll have it in below the video on YouTube, so that you can come to my website. Here I show how to set it up. So if you forget how in the video, I step you step by step through setting up Thunderbird. Then I show how to check your emails, how to work with attachments. I even show you how to send an email. But then I've got help topics and add-ons. With these add-ons, you can do it like add-ons within your Chrome browser or Firefox browser. You can change the theme, the color. You can add attachments to where you can put pop-up blockers. So if someone sends you emails that has a pop-up, maybe a spam email or something, you can put pop-up blockers in them. There's so many things that you can do with Thunderbird. It's very customizable. And again, I don't get into all the customization on my website since it's the basic features of it, but I do have links at the very bottom, and eventually this video will go below that line. But this right here takes you to where it shows you how to set up all those customizations and add-ons to Thunderbird. Hopefully you've learned how to, and you can see in my inbox, it just now came in, the email I sent. So there is a delay from the email from AOL to Gmail. It's not anything to do with Thunderbird delay. It's a delay from my AOL account to my Gmail. And as you can see, it didn't take long to get into the email box or my inbox. But remember, I also have this on a delay, so it probably got there sooner. It's just that I have it on a delay to check every so often to remind me when I have an email. I do have a chime that chimes in, but I turned the chime off so it wouldn't interfere with this video. Hopefully you've learned something from the video. If not, hopefully one of my future videos you'll learn something from it. If you're not using Ubuntu but like to try Ubuntu out, you can come to my Ubuntu Learn Ubuntu Mate website. It's for beginners, but if you are a veteran user and never used some of these default features, and I will get into some additional software, but I'm still in the process of putting the default features of Ubuntu Mate. I will be adding to the site, so if you want to bookmark so you can come back to the site, please do so. Hopefully you've learned something, and have a great day.